It's Pajama Pants Sunday. I love pajama pants, and I'm wearing my high school volleyball shirt. You can take a guess where that's from if you don't know me personally. Welcome to day 4 and all the things. What does that mean? Well, let's roll the intro and get into it. Welcome to day 4 and all the things. Enjoy. This is what I do on my other shows, and so I thought that would be kind of fun to start differently. And, I'm a work in progress, so I'm always going to be doing different things. So welcome to day 4. I still have my trusty little nephew over there. He's kind of hard to see. It's a little dark in that corner. But what does that entail? What are all the things? It's literally all the things. It's going through everything. It's talking to your realtor about stuff. It's important to give your agent your details up front so that there are no surprises. So communicate with your agent, give them everything you know. How old is the roof? How old is your HVAC unit, which is heating, ventilation, and cooling? Let me look that up. I was close. Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Okay, so that's your air conditioning unit. Sometimes you have gas heated places, so it's different information, but just make sure we have all the information. Agents have all the information on those. What kind of plumbing pipes do you have? How old is the water heater? It's not a hot water heater. It is a water heater that heats up the water. So on top of all of this information, when was the last time that they were serviced? Got to know that. I'm really working on not saying okay all the time, but I can't make any promises. Okay? Okay, so we're... Just roll with it. Just go with it. It's just me. Light bulbs. Let's chat light bulbs. Go around the house and be sure that all the light bulbs are working. That sounds silly, but it really, really helps in inspection time. I stated that yesterday, so in curb appeal. So your front porch light, you want to make sure that's working. I got to turn my phone off. You want to, it saves time. So an inspector is not going to screw in a light bulb to see if the outlet is working, okay? So, you would think that would save time, but it will save you time, the buyer's time, and the perception a buyer might have if there are some other things wrong that, oh my gosh, there's a lot of things wrong with this house. Now this outlet doesn't work and all it needed was a light bulb, okay? So just go through the house and make sure all your light bulbs are working. Next up, electrical stuff, okay? Outlets, electrical boxes. So outlets, once you've replaced all the light bulbs, make sure that they all work. If not, have an electrician come out or a handyman that you trust. But electrical stuff can be pretty tricky and dangerous, so just be careful, okay? So make sure that all of your outlets are in working order, and if not, get them fixed if at all possible. GFCI outlets are always a big deal to people. They weren't around a long time ago, but it stands for ground fault circuit interrupter. See, I looked that one up ahead of time. The main thing to know is that they are typically used around where an outlet may come in contact with water. So in your kitchens, your bathrooms, laundry rooms, things like that, okay? They have a little testing button on it. Looks like this, okay? And they're pretty cheap to replace. So doing it before the buyer comes for the inspection is a good idea, okay? Then the electrical box is the power to the house. They're usually on the outside. I grew up in Roswell, New Mexico since I was 10, before I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. And our electrical boxes were in the garage, which I thought was brilliant because nobody had access to them. And here they're outside, which is bizarre to me. So anybody can just walk up, turn your power off. That's just not cool. Mine's locked up. Okay, so here are some issues, some potential issues with electrical boxes, okay? Make sure that they're labeled correctly. That's a big problem. Could solve a lot of problems in the future, okay? Corrosion, you could get corrosion on it, which comes from moisture, and it looks kind of rusty and stuff, which could cause you to replace the wires. Then some of them could be double tapped or lugged, And that just means that there's multiple wires connected to one lug. And that lug is the thing that connects it to the different appliances and stuff. It's like a temporary thing. It can come in and out of the box. Okay. So you can replace them if they go bad. So this usually happens when you run out of space for lugs, and they'll double tap it. So they'll put 2 wires in there. So you've got to be really concerned about that depending on how much power your electrical box is putting out and that kind of thing. So it is best to get an electrician out there to look at it, okay? It's not the end of the world if things are double lugged, but it could be. And usually when that happens, it's kind of funny because there's extra space in the electrical box. So all you got to do is get another lug and plug that wire into it, okay? So as I said, get an electrician to check it out, okay? Sometimes inspectors will state that some of the issues with the electrical box weren't required at the time that the home was built. So some buyers could see it as a potential issue, but it's best to have an electrician. I don't think I can restate that enough, to provide you and the buyers with the comfort of knowing that this is a functioning electrical box and there won't be any issues, at least in the near future. Now we're moving on to plumbing. There are the types that I looked up of plumbing. If you know your plumbing type, it helps inspectors with that inspection for the buyers as well. It includes PEX or cross-linked polyethylene, fancy, PVC, copper, flexi, galvanized steel, and cast iron. Okay, so know what kind of pipes you have. A plumber could help you with that. They're angle stops. Those are those things. They've updated them, I think. There's those things that turn, that are underneath your sinks and at the bottom of your toilets. Those are the shutoff valves for water. And most inspectors won't turn if they're too hard to turn. They're not going to force turn them, because then if they break and all the water comes out, that they're going to be held liable. Okay, so in Arizona we have hard water, so these freeze a lot. So a tip for you homeowners, that even if you're not selling, move those around a little bit, okay? Because they do tend to get frozen up. Check for leaks all over your house. This goes bathroom, kitchen, laundry room, out back, your hose bibs, your landscaping, drip system outside. Check your toilets for leaks. And here's an interesting one. Sometimes they're not anchored to the floor. They kind of wobble bobble. And that's a pretty easy fix too. So check for that. And we're going to talk about doors and windows next. Did you even think that there would be this much information about all of the things? I mean, all the things kind of implies it, but there's a lot of things. Okay, doors and windows, doors, front and back doors, closet doors, sliding doors / Arcadia doors, whatever you call them, garage doors. Does your garage door make a bunch of noise? Make sure that they close correctly, hinges and gaps. Sometimes you need a door sweep, which is one of these guys. It's that thing that goes under the door and sometimes hugs both sides, closing the gap. Or it could have just like a one side thing, and then you can look it up, and a bunch of different kinds come up, but it closes that gap in the door. So it keeps air, if it's too hot out or too cold out, from coming in the house, and also keeps bugs out. And that just grosses me out because cockroaches scare me more than anything. Windows, if they're dual paned and there's a problem, you may see moisture in them because there's a gas element that kind of keeps them like that. And so that could be a problem. There could be a crack. Buyers, when they see the windows like that, they're a fairly pricey item to replace, but you don't have to replace those. I mean, but it's best if you know what's happening up front. It's best at least to know that they open and close safely and efficiently. An inspector is not going to step on a couch or your bed or move things in order to open a window. So if you can plan that kind of thing when you know that the buyers are coming for inspection, to move those items just for them to be able to verify that the windows open and close, that's super beneficial also, okay? There I go with okay. So now we're going to talk about fencing. Think about what the purpose of your fence is. Is it decorative, or is it for privacy or protection? That kind of thing. If it's for privacy or protection, I suppose privacy, it doesn't need to be sturdy, but if it's for protection, you really don't want people or animals getting into your yard if you have a certain fence. Okay, so make sure it's sturdy. If it's wood, make sure there aren't any breaks in it. Wood has to be replaced quite often, I believe, and treated. So just make sure it's sturdy. It looks good. There are no cracks and stuff in it. Sorry. If it's block, sometimes there's cracks in it also. Sometimes it's a big deal. Sometimes it's not. Ground settles. So again, get a fencer out there to take a look at it, or a trusted friend that knows things, or a handyman. And then, clean the fence maybe, and or repaint it if needed. So those are some things that'll really help you too. Okay. And now we're going to talk about flooring next. There's quite a bit of stuff on that. Flooring. Do I look studious? The glare is just so bad. I make my print down here very big so that I can see it. I kind of cheat that way. So flooring, the bottom line is, what does it look like? What kind of flooring do you have? Tile, carpet, concrete, wood, laminate? Are there cracks? Is the grout disgusting? Is it warped? Here's Gunther. Do you want it to look the best possible? That's the dog, by the way. You want it to look the best possible? So if it's dirty, clean it. Grout or carpet cleaning, maybe that kind of thing. Think about putting some less of expensive carpet in to make it more appealing, particularly if the carpet's just in the bedrooms. Don't redo all the flooring. That's not going to be cost effective, because you don't know what the buyer might be thinking and or wanting to do with the flooring. Funny thing here is when people move from the East Coast, they don't do it with tiles, but with carpet, they'll say something like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll just rip up the carpet and use the wood floor underneath." And I'm thinking, well, I have to tell them it's not the way it works here. It's concrete. It's all concrete underneath everything here. So don't waste your time replacing the floors unless it's cost effective carpet that you can replace. Okay. So just make sure your flooring looks its best and it's most presentable. Okay. All right. So we're rounding out our information with ceiling cracks, roofs, and basements if you have any. We don't have too many here in Arizona, but we do have some. So if you're getting this information somewhere else, it might be useful to you. Ceiling. So look at your ceiling. Are there any cracks in it? Determine the reason that the cracks are there. It's probably from settling. Okay. So, but you might have some moisture areas. Maybe you had a roof leak and you had it repaired, and then there's a moisture stain there. So patch it, repair it, paint it, make it look the best. Okay. Because you're going to be telling buyers, there's a disclosure that you fill out with everything that's been done to the house. Okay. So you're not hiding anything. You're just making it look better and presentable and appealing to a buyer. Okay. So patch those holes and cracks, paint it if needed. The roof, check it out. Are there any cracks, missing tiles? Make sure there are no leaks. It's best to get a roofer out to do that. They usually give you free quotes. And then if they charge you for the quote and say there is work to be needed, they can take it out of the escrow. You can pay them later. And you could present that to the buyer too. So the biggest thing is just be proactive. Just be proactive as much as you can. And as I stated before, and I will talk about this later, if there are a lot of potential issues and it's going to be costly, then you and your agent can chat about how to price the house and how to make it more appealing that way. So basements, like I said, there's very few here, but if you do have a basement, make sure that there isn't any water damage. Are there any settlement issues? What kind of flooring is in the basement? What kind of fire escape protocols are in place? Because basements, sometimes you have them like a tri-level. I don't know if that's really considered a basement, but the windows are at a weird place and that's not considered fire safety. You're not going to change the windows, but just kind of take a look around and get all of the information that you can out of it and consult a professional to help you figure out the minutia, okay, and figure out what the best plan is. So basically, there's a lot of professionals out there. Your agent should be able to help you with finding the right ones. We have a broad knowledge of this kind of thing. We have a lot of contacts. There's a lot of ways that we can get into contact with people in different areas. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, which is over 5 million people, Metro Phoenix. And so some of the places I go are 45 minutes one way. I sell in Tucson too, and that's 2 hours one way. So it's helpful to have people in the industry that you can reach out to and get that kind of advice and good information for your sellers and for your buyers. Okay. So like I said, I'm circling back to the knowledge on all the things like air conditioning units, water heaters, that kind of thing. If you haven't had them serviced, have them serviced before you sell. That's a great idea because then any potential issues will come up as well. And sometimes in your home warranty, it is a service call fee, and then any potential issues might come up. So you could be best prepared. Okay. So if something I think that would be great to do is to also add a termite inspection and treatment if needed. And if that is the case, they usually provide a 1-year warranty, a 5-year warranty, something like that. Okay. So that's best to do because then you can just say, okay, yes, we had termites. We treated it. Here's the warranty. And then they don't have to worry about it. Okay. So there you go. My bunch of okays. Thanks for joining me, and join me next time. I don't know what the topic is yet. I'll tell you in the next little slide. All right, I got it. Next week, or this coming week, we're going to be, the next video will be about all the things you need to do in order to list it. So you're going to be having a conversation with your agent. They're going to go over the comps in your area, pricing, and all of the little details that need to be done before you list. So it's going to be very exciting. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Woot woot.